Hey everyone, Happy New Year! Here's hoping for a fantastic 2026 with your loved ones, and of course, with gaming too. Last year was packed with interesting releases, and this one seems quite promising too. But let me know, which newer releases or rare releases are you interested to play in this year? In my case, these are the 8 RPGs that attract my attention the most so far. And of course, let's cross fingers, so they can be launched without issues. Without further ado, let's begin. In January 15, Trails Beyond the Horizon is coming, and the story keeps gearing some new ideas. Now, with the launch of a spaceship, I know it is a bit surprising considering all the technology they have, but let's go with the flow. However, things do not look quite bright despite the news, as the end of the Semorian continent gets closer and closer, or at least that is what the prophecy says. And in this time around, we are going to play with Van and some old characters from Cold Steel. Gameplay-wise, we are going to have similar mechanics as the ones from these past years, where we can do some battles while moving around, to then release shards, if we want to get into the classic turn-based system. There are new ideas regarding time manipulation or something along those lines, where you will be able to break strong enemies in a breeze. In January 30, Code Vein 2 is going to be released. I am not well versed in the Code Vein franchise. I know there's a link between God Eater and these games, but I haven't played them since the second entry, so I have a lot of homework to do, but I'll get there, as this story started to attract my attention. I know some people disliked the first entry because it was like another Souls game, but with anime style? What can I say? At least on my side, I don't really mind it. In any case, this time around, and once again, the world is pretty much collapsing, because the cocoons that were used to seal the resurgence start exploding all around the globe, pretty much annihilating everything. How we are going to stop them or find an answer? No idea. But I am sure we will have to beat the ass out of someone. And yeah, I don't have a quite deep reason to play these games. I was in the mood to get dirty with some classy Souls games, and these ones caught my attention. So let's see if they are worth playing down the line. Bloodstained. The Scarlet Engagement has no release date, or I don't know, a date at least, as of the recording of this video. But I remember that last year, when I was asked to talk about some Metroidvanias, I wanted to see another of these games, and what was my surprise some months later, when this game was announced for 2026, where we will follow Leonardo and Alex in a crusade to defeat Elias, as he pretty much summoned demons to terrorize the humans. I know the story doesn't sound that appealing, but oftentimes I don't play Metroidvanias for their stories, but because of their gameplay. And if this thing is similar to Ritual of the Night, oh boy, I am getting hyped to get this game and destroy it, as I did with Ritual of the Night. So far, I haven't seen that many details about it, but I hope it lives up to decent expectations. In a sense, it reminds me to Castlevania Portrait of the Ruin, so I am kinda hoping to see a similar kind of gameplay, or something much better. Next in line is Fire Emblem, Fortune's Way. So far there's not much around it, but an interesting idea where we see an older Sothis, choking with a kinda known face. And yeah, I haven't seen that many comments about it, but when it was announced, images appeared all over the place, and people started speculating if it was a prequel, sequel, or whatever. Personally, I prefer to leave it as a surprise, as some characters look like those from Three Houses. My only wish with this is that they do not end up committing the same mistakes as they did with Engage, throwing crappy gacha mechanics, weak story, and boring conversations between characters. And while it doesn't look like it's going to follow a similar idea like in Three Houses, seems like it might be like a traditional Fire Emblem in a sense. Yeah, I'm also quite hyped about this one, and trying to keep my expectations in check, because in these past years, Fire Emblem has been like a roller coaster. There is a good game, then one bad, then another that it's quite interesting, then another that it isn't. So let's see if we follow that similar trend here. Then we have the Dustcloths. I'm in a little bit of a predicament with this one, between intrigued and when I heard that it was going to be multiplayer. If I am honest, I don't want to get into those things as they are time consuming. So if it is like another Night Rain, I'll pass. But if it has its story, campaign, and you know the usual From Software stuff, then yeah, I am down to play this one. because I really wanted to play another thing reminiscent to Bloodborne. The cosmic horrors have always been a thing of mine, and I truly want this game to have some of those things. From just watching the trailer, I don't get to completely understand what it's going to be about, but time will tell later. I just hope I can jump into a solo player campaign. Ys Revelations of Celcera is a re-release I definitely want to get. Back in the day I didn't have the chance to play the original game, but when I saw it was going to be launched once again, sure, count me in. According to Adolf's log, this story takes place 1 year after Ys 10, but before the Odenfelgana, where our hero has amnesia when he arrived in Kaznan, where time later he is hired to draw a map of the region, as it is still kinda unknown. In the process they reach a village where they get to know some new allies and an antagonist who abducts people from Komodo village. After this point, I have no idea what else happens. But for the few times I have heard people talk about this game, it is quite entertaining, perhaps a short adventure, but that is pretty much a classic in the Ys series, generally being somewhere around 15 to 40 hours long. An action RPG that got my attention was The Adventures of Elliot, The Millennium Tales. This one reminded me some of those old Zelda games I used to love, but of course with a cool 2D HD design. So I am expecting to get this game down the line, cause I wanna play something like the old action games from the NES and SNES. And the story doesn't sound bad at all, where human beings lived in a city pretty much guarded by a spell that repels beasts, otherwise it sounds like they would have disappeared. The premise is there, and the graphics are there, but maybe where I'm a little hesitant is with its pace. To be completely honest, I have always been of faster gameplays, similarly to those from Ys games, and that is the only thing where I am not sure I'll come to really like this game, or if it is going to be solid, but I prefer to talk about the experience after diving into it. And last but not least, not sure how to say it, but Algolemeth, I guess? Well, if you follow this channel for a while, you know the RPGs are a thing here, and this game popped up last year and it got my attention right away. Now there is not too much about it, just some basic ideas, where you let's say decide some commands and dive into the dungeon, where these golems will follow actions as they were given, so it gives me a similar vibe as when you are programming something, with if this happens, then do that or the other, but if event A doesn't happen, then do C, A things. Well, the idea at first hand sounds quite raw. You know, I'm always down for one of these weird experiments, and at least for the little information we are given, the thing seems to be something like a DRPG with a touch of a roguelike game. So, my guess is that it will be unfair and unbalanced, but who knows until try it out. So these are the RPGs I wanna play this year, but which ones are you expecting? Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.